The Art of Persuasion EIY Education section. In today's fast-paced, constantly changing workplace, so much of our success comes down to our ability to influence colleagues, persuade coworkers, and get clients and customers to say yes to our ideas, proposals, and guests. But how can you become a more effective persuader? In this live stream session, EIY and our guest speaker, Ms. Claire, will offer 10 proven ways to ethically and practically improve your ability to influence and persuade others at home, at work, and online. Hi, everyone. And Ms. Claire is a published author and communication coach working in Singapore, Europe, and the US. She knows that when you want to influence someone's brain, you need to start with science, facts versus desire. If you want to master the art of persuasion, start with this motivation, and we will discover how to accelerate our skills in this vital craft. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show.
Hello, good to see you.
Yeah, hi. So, Ms. Claire, could you please share with us 10 ways to persuade others?
Well, what I've done is I've put together a project book. So if you want to share that after the session, because I'm not sure, like, we're going to get through everything. But what I wanted to start with is you have to, first of all, understand what you're doing in the situation. So you'll either be in a group setting with a few people, or you'll be in a group setting with a lot of people, or you'll be at an interview, or you'll be in dialogue with a colleague, maybe even in a corridor. But I think the thing to understand, first of all, is what is happening to you in that situation. So some of us absolutely love standing up in front of lots of people, and we have no problem with it. It's like we feel like a fish in water, and it's a great thing. Others of us are absolutely terrified of it, but we have to do it anyway. So one of the things that I always say, first of all, is figure out how you're going to get control in the room or with the person that you're with. And what I mean by that is what's going on in your body, how your body language is, the pace of thinking. Like sometimes when people start trying to get a point across, they start speaking really fast because they've got so many things they want to say, and it's brilliant, and your heart rate is going. And at the end of the day, it is really hard for you to think that fast. So what you want to be thinking about is just getting your body to relax into the situation, and monitor your breathing. So in other words, you're not like this, because if you're like that, all of your blood is kind of stuck and your heart starts going faster. And it's great from an adrenaline point of view, but it's not sustainable, especially if you're having to speak for a long time. So you want to do some work before you get into the situation. So for example, let's take an interview. You want to do some work before you get into the situation to figure out how stressful you're going to find it. Does that make sense? What I mean by that is, right, how much is riding on this situation? Is it a job that I'm absolutely desperate for, or have I got a range of things and this is one of them, or what is it? So if we're in an interview situation, because the higher the need for the outcome, the more stressful it is for us going into it. Because if we really want it, we're going to be really so what we need to do before we even go into that room is to make sure that we've done some work to make sure that when we go in, we're in a good place. So we want to think about our breathing and maybe even do some visualization. So thinking about being in the room, what I'm going to feel like and what I want to achieve when I'm there, and how I'm going to talk to the other person. So I've done all that work before I get in, and athletes use this technique a lot when they're, about to run a really important race, or they're in the Olympics and they have to ski down a certain slope, and it's, a lot of things are going on there. So often they'll use visualization before to just sort of put themselves in a place where their body's already experienced it before they get in to the place. So that's number one, is what's your body doing? How are you going to sort of feel about that in the situation? It's all very well beforehand, but how are you going to feel like about it when it actually happens. So that's the number one thing that I would say. Do you want to comment on that at all, or?
Yeah, I think that that's great. It means that we need to be aware of our body language before
Mhm.
we start persuading. I think
Yeah.
we got that. So let's move on to the second one, Ms. Claire.
Okay. So what I mean as well by sort of thinking about your body language is something that I've done really successfully is to actually have students of mine watch videos of people doing presentations. And I'll often say, find a famous person that you really identify with and watch what they're doing. So, and what we do is we'll watch a range of presentations. So we'll watch some that are really good, where the person's really like working well with the room, and then we'll watch some of people that are doing perhaps a not such a great job, so that we can just see what the difference is. Like, how are they making points? What's the structure of what they're saying? How many visuals do they use? How many words are on the slides or whatever? What kind of tech are they using? How are they interacting with the room? Are they telling jokes or are they not telling jokes? So it's just things like that that can really help. So yeah, I think it's really important to watch other people doing things, especially if you're having to be in a room with lots of people, is to just understand kind of what are some tips and techniques to kind of make that a really good experience for everybody in the room. So yeah, that's kind of point number 2, is learn from other people. You can learn from so 2 shows that I really like watching are you can get them on YouTube. One is Dragon's Den and another one is Shark Tank. And you will see people, because it's such a stressful situation, because people are pitching, they've got a business and they want the business to grow. So it's a super stressful situation. And some of them, you honestly think they've done this their whole lives and are amazing at it. And then others of them, they start really well and then they freeze. And I'm looking at them just going, this is your, this is all of your body, and all of that stress is all of a sudden it's like, I'm stuck. So it's quite good to watch how people do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've been to that experience.
Yeah.
Super nervous, right?
Yeah, because it depends what's riding on something. I think the thing about persuasion is, sometimes what we're trying to persuade someone to do is kind of a little deal. Like, can we go to this movie rather than that movie? It's not a massive deal, that. But sometimes it's like our whole life could change because of what we're having to persuade someone to do. So, it depends on the stakes, really. And the higher the stakes, the more preparation. This is the thing that I really think makes the difference, is the amount of preparation that you do before you go. Is like, who am I speaking to? And I think one of your other coaches said this: who am I speaking to? Like, what do I need to do to be speaking their language, rather than a language I think they want to hear? Is actually put yourself into that audience and find out who they are.
Should we? Because you said that the reason why we are nervous, because at that time we have high expectation on the outcome.
Yeah.
Should we manage our expectation in order to reduce our nervousness or not, Miss?
Yes. Yeah, because it's not life or death, is it? I mean, I mean, I've been doing presentations for years, and sometimes they go really well and other times they don't go as well. And one of the things that has happened as time goes on is we're using more tech. So like, if you're having to use tech, and because I used to travel for business, you'd be in all sorts of rooms where you hadn't had time to see the tech before. So like, what I'm super kind of controlling about now is to make sure that I get in the room with the tech before. So that's another thing, is if you're using tech, make sure it works and make sure that it's compatible. And if it's really important, this presentation, then make sure you've got a backup plan in case it doesn't work. Because the more that you can do to allow yourself to just flow, the better. So obviously that one thing is making sure you understand your presentation structure, having rehearsed it. And if it's an interview, you've gone through what is the company, what can I offer them, what are the benefits that I'm bringing to this. Try to think about all the questions you might be asked, talk to other people who work there and find out more about the business, and make sure that you have a really good idea of what it is you're bringing on that day. But then if you're using tech, make sure the tech is working before you start, because it's just super stressful to get, you know, everybody in the room and then realize the clicker doesn't work. That's not fun.
Yeah, sure. Know your presentation code. We have that phrase.
Yeah, know it. And also, I think part of that is sort of another point, anticipating questions. So it's really good to open up to questions, but you kind of want to know roughly the kind of questions you think you're going to get beforehand. So if it's a presentation where, I wouldn't say it's more controversial, but it's something that you're presenting that might be a new thing, then you need to have done the work to figure out all the arguments that people are going to say, well, this or when, you know, because there's normally someone in the room who'll go, you know, that kind of like, oh, we've been doing it this way for 25 years.
Right.
Yeah, and that leads me to another point. So we're probably on point 6. I don't know where we are, but anyway, we've done quite a few. There's a difference between asking, when I'm asking the questions, there's a difference between asking analytical questions and questions that ask for permission. So an analytical question, if you're in a situation where you've got, you know, debate going back and forwards, an analytical question I might ask might be, so do you think that we could talk about implementing this in maybe 6 months? That might be an analytical question. Like, we talk about stuff like that. A permission question is more, are you open to me talking to you about this now? So, for example, if you're in, let's say you're in a corridor with someone and you've got an idea that you really want to talk about, maybe you're going to change your role or you're going to change something, the way something works or whatever. So a permission question is, are you open to me talking to you about this now? Or are you, for me as a coach, I might ask someone, are you open to coaching right now? You're only going to get a yes or no answer. And if you get a no answer, then you can ask them, so can we make a time when you would be available to talk about this? You're not always asking them for a yes now, but you're asking them for a commitment, a solid commitment to talk about it at some point. But what I love about permission questions is that pretty much, unless people are super stressed and they've got to go somewhere else, the answer will be yes. Because who isn't open? You know, you don't want to be like, who, if I say to you, are you open to coaching? Yes, I'm open, because I want to be coached. I want to get better at something. So that are you open question or a permission question can be really, really good when you're starting a you're trying to take someone in a persuasive journey.
Ms. Glenn, I have a question here. So if you would like to ask questions to your audience, what kinds of questions we better ask?
So it depends on who you're talking to. If you're trying to get to an outcome, then you would have a range of questions to ask them that help them to move closer towards that outcome. It's hard to kind of be more specific about that unless I know kind of the scenario that you're in. But essentially, the questions that you're asking, you're doing one of three things. You're either trying to make them feel something, or you're wanting to help them to reason through something, or you want to build your credibility. So the kind of question that you ask, help them to know that you are really good at what you're doing and you understand the subject. Does that make sense? Because essentially persuasion, the kind of heart of persuasion is reasoning, feelings. Most people make buying decisions. If we're talking about buying things, they make decisions based on how they're feeling. That's why advertisers spend so much time and money trying to figure out what makes them feel better, or what they need, or what they want, or what they think they need. Because a lot of persuasion comes down to well, I was feeling this at the beginning, but now I'm feeling that. So some of that is done through reason and logic and fact. Some of that is done through the structure of the journey that you lead them through. But at the end of the day, it kind of comes down to how I'm feeling about it. Am I sold on it? Am I buying into it? Or do I feel like, no, I don't trust this person. I don't want to do this right now, whatever. But it comes down to kind of what's motivating the person to say yes or no. So go on.
I have a question here, so for a case of stubborn people, it's hard to change their mind.
Yeah.
So how can we persuade those stubborn people?
Some people won't. You know what? There are some people that you will never persuade. You know, that's the reality. Some people in companies, people tend to respond to certain things, and you may not know their agenda. You may not know exactly why they're saying no, but you know, some people you'll never persuade. Some people will be persuaded by rational, logical argument where you lead them through a structure. Some people will be persuaded because you've done enough to show that you really can be trusted, and because they trust you, they will make that decision. So what I say, I mean, can I ask you for a situation in which you've got a stubborn person, because that would be helpful, because then I can kind of talk to that.
Okay, sure. For example, that I would like to convince my manager to approve an idea. The point is that my manager is a very strong person. She has a strong personality. It's hard to change her mind. Whenever she make up her mind already, and she an overachiever person, and she arrogant. So she has accomplished so many things in her life. So with that case, how can we persuade that kind of personality person in order to change her mind?
I think you have to find a way to make her think like it's her idea. because people like that, you know, I mean, a lot of it is psychology, and I think the thing is, if you work in companies with people, the longer you're there, the more you realize, oh, this person is like this and that person is like that. A lot of people in management become, sadly, they become very kind of like, well, you know, I am amazing because I am a manager and you are not a manager, and therefore I know more than you. And so there's a hierarchy in terms of that decision making, and it's very self-defeating, actually, to reach a point in life where you think you know everything and you can control everything, and you are like the universe and all the stars are moving around you.
Yes,
yeah. So I think in that situation, what I would do is some work in making her feel like it was her idea. And I mean, I can't necessarily do that in a session right now, but I can guarantee that you could do some research into how to make people think that it's their idea, and then try and follow those steps, because you're, you know, coming at someone with a very arrogant kind of know-it-all situation with, well, I've had these thoughts about this and I really feel like it could be a benefit for us if we do this. Like, it could be an amazing idea, but if they're just not open to receiving ideas from other people, then you've got to find another way around it. It's a bit like if I was thinking about a rock and water, like, you know, the rock is there, you've got to figure a way to get around it. Does that make sense? It's like you've got to find a way to flow around it because it's such a massive rock.
Yeah, I got your point. You mean that we better make her feel that is her idea.
Yeah.
So with that direction, how can we make her feel that this is your idea, it's not my idea?
What I would do is I would do so, like, if I if I was doing this, I'll tell you the process I would go through. I would do some research into working with managers with high control personality, and I'd find out what kind of motivates them, and then I would start trying to figure out a way to tell. So essentially, I might try and tell a story of the idea that I have in a way that appeals to her motivation. Hey, this could make you look better, or this could, you know. So I mean, something else came to my mind as well, which is I would definitely use permission questions with her, because I would say, are you open to hearing about a new idea, or are you open to hearing about something that might benefit the company, or whatever it is? So because you need that person to be in a yes frame of mind, because most of the time they're like this. So you've got to find a way of kind of at least getting a couple of yeses out, so she's more likely to sort of. So I would start with a permission question, and then I would see if I can put in another couple of permission questions as I went. So I might ask another question, like another question that I wanted to say yes to, that's an easy way for it to say yes. And do you see what I'm saying? Because the more I can get her to say yes, the more likely she is to say yes at the end of it. So that's probably what I would do. But I was also I'd also do some research on dealing with that kind of particular personality type, because it's.
So it means okay. Okay, let me reconfirm your point. It means that we will set out the way, the path that we would like to lead her to, and then the more that she can say yes, the more that she will say the big yes at the end.
Yeah, that's it. And the other thing that I've really seen work over and over again is the power of storytelling. So a permission question might be, can I share with you an idea that created a lot of success in another organization like ours? And you're not saying, can I teach you something that you don't know because I'm cleverer than you? What you're doing is you're saying, can I tell you a story about something that worked for another organization that's like ours? And normally someone who wants more success will go, yes, because yeah, I do want to know what they did that made a difference. And then that opens the door to it not being about you so much as about something that worked for someone else. So it's kind of shifting that emphasis over. And then I would actually tell a story. So another thing that I talk about, I'm just going to use an example of, like, say you were selling glue. So people do not want to buy glue, the noun. All right. They want to understand how to stick things together, which is a verb, right? So with a manager like this, you've taken it from being an idea, noun, into a way of doing something that benefits the company, which helped other people, which is a verb. Do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of more of an action thing, because coming with an idea is a noun, but coming with a story of how something was successful is a verb, and there's a lot more energy and power in that than just, I have an idea, can I share it with you? I think it might be good.
Yeah, it would be great if you can share an example so that we can visualize it.
Yeah, I can. So if we go back to glue, I don't say I want to sell you. I want to sell you this glue because it's a great product and loads of people think it's brilliant, and it's a really flat way of talking. I might say, can I tell you a story about a client of mine who bought this glue and used it to stick all these things, like you know, he made this amazing collage. I mean, I'm kind of talking about art now, because I'm kind of shifting. But what I'm saying is, well, let's think of a product. Can you give me a prompt of a product, and I'll do it for you.
Let's make public speaking as a product.
Okay. Oh my gosh, public speaking. Okay, so public speaking is a noun. All right. But what you're actually doing by becoming better at public speaking is you're potentially becoming better at presenting yourself in a job interview. You're potentially becoming better at being able to transform a room when you walk into it, being able to handle a room when you walk into it. If you learn how to handle a room when you walk into it, then you might leave with a new contract, or it might be a networking event and you might leave with a new job. So if you learn the art of public speaking, then not only are you going to benefit yourself in kind of small situations where you're perhaps having a conversation with a colleague and you're able to present yourself more confidently, but also if you think about other settings where you have to talk to people, you're going to get more confident at presentations, at presenting your ideas, at being able to communicate effectively. You're going to get better at walking into a room and taking control of the room and knowing how to interact with the people there. All of that means that you're more likely to achieve success. Because communication skills are basic. We have to get good at them. If you're going to get good at one thing, get good at communicating, because that's what we do all day. So that's what I mean by turning it from a noun, presentation skills, into a story about like something that people can visualize, and it starts being more about, well, I'm taking you on a journey of where you are and then what it could be like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we understand it. At first, that you set a goal, and then you're gonna find out the ways how you can get there. So start with the now, it isn't a goal, and then then you're gonna execute it with the verb. It means that how you are going to get there.
Yeah, because I think even if we go back to that manager in that room, she has a goal. Like she wants to continue being good at her job. Probably she wants a promotion. She certainly wants validation. So there are going to be things that motivate her. We just got to find out what they are and then start telling that story, as opposed to coming in and going, I've got a great idea. It could be really good for, you know, that we've got to find a story that's going to, and I think the other thing that I do a lot is I look at how brands, so if we go into more sort of like advertising and marketing, I look at how brands tell stories. So, for example, Airbnb are really good at storytelling because their whole concept is, okay, here's the noun. I go stay in someone else's house, travel. These are all nouns. What Airbnb do is they'll tell you a story about someone who went to Hoi An and they lived with someone who helped them live like a local. You know, they went and found the most amazing food. They went on the river. You know, they went to this amazing art place that nobody knows about. And I'm actually, one of my pictures behind me is from Hanoi, and we did Airbnb in Hanoi. You know, so like I have a personal experience of that, but that Airbnb do that really well. There are brands that storytell really well, and it stops being about buy the product. It starts being about a kind of natural communication experience between you and the company. And then because it's a natural experience and you love it, you tend to buy more than once. Let's put it that way.
I see. I understand your example now. Miss, since we come to the final moment of our live stream tonight, do you have any final message that you would like to share with our viewers?
I think one thing that I think is really important is when you're trying to learn a new skill, focus on one thing. So, for example, if you're trying to learn to be more persuasive, set yourself a goal. Like, don't do everything. So don't do like, I want to be more persuasive in interviews and I want to be more persuasive in a mass room. Blah, blah. Set yourself a goal. So start with, okay, I want to be more persuasive when I'm talking to, let's say, this manager, and start with that, and then do some work on that first, because all of that helps the other things. But sometimes people, I think now, because there's so much information, I mean, you can go on YouTube, you can download things. There's just too much information. So just start somewhere and set yourself a goal and do that first, and then practice it, and then, add in. But I think sometimes, it's like anything. It's like tennis or cooking or anything. It's like, if you try and do everything, it's too much. Start with one skill. Start with chopping or whatever, and that's what it's called. It's called detail skill building, and it's much more effective than trying to do everything all the time.
One at a time.
Yeah, one at a time. Just focus on one thing. So you can go, okay, let me look at presentation skills. What are presentation skills? Or I can look at persuasion. What is persuasion? Well, what do I need it for? And then figure out a way to concentrate on one thing within that rather than all of it.
Got you, Miss Claire. Miss Claire, thank you so much for joining us tonight to share the persuasion topic, and thank you so much everyone for joining EIY education session. I hope to see
really lovely. I really appreciate having invitation to spend some time with you. It's really fantastic. I appreciate it, and thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank you so much, Miss Claire, and everyone. Bye bye. See you next week.
Bye. Bye.